Hi and welcome to a Monday Recorded. Yes, I'm off in Norway. Hopefully, at this exact time, if you're watching it live, we should have arrived in Trondheim. I will have just finished a seminar on board, and we will have landed in Norway. So we left on Saturday. Day at sea and then into the fjords, yeah. And it's quite exciting. I think we're going to be underneath zero most of the time, but we're looking to see the Northern Lights and Norway in the winter, so pretty exciting. I will report back when I get back. But it does mean, obviously, I'm away, so this one's recorded. The Wednesday is a recorded pairs game, of course, from about 9 days ago, so the Monday before. Gives us a little bit of time to edit it and get it ready, as it were. I know it does mean that you may have forgotten a lot of the hands, but hopefully if you played in and you want to see what I did or the way I did it, it'll get refreshed, as it were, when you watch it. Then next Friday, there's no recording at all. So there's no Friday and no Monday. Okay. I could have done another Friday on past hands or whatever, but I just thought that, look, let's leave it because we're going to start a new topic. We're going to start on holding up and ducking, as it were, as declare. We're going to look at that quite closely. And usually, as usual, go on a little run and here, there and everywhere. It's always quite fun. And it's funny because a lot of these things are like protection, where things go right and wrong. It's the same with ducking and holding up. You can have some great successes with it, but you can also end up in doing the wrong thing, getting your winners roughed away, etc. So there's a lot of pluses and minuses. And what I try to explain to people is that you're aiming for 75. Well, you're aiming for 65%, if I'm honest. But if you can get 3 out of 4 right, you're doing all right. So what that means is 3 out of 4 times you try a technique, it won't get you a good score. Does that make sense? So experts are saying, yep, you should do this, and they will do it. And 1 in 4 times it goes wrong. But the point is, as long as it's 3 and 4 times it's right, we'll take 75%. And that's, I'm afraid, your life in bridge, and we've all been there. If it's the most important board in your life, you want it to be 3 out of 4, not the 1 in 4, but we'll see. So what are we talking about? We are talking declare, play and suits. We're finishing off that, and I'm afraid next month we go on to defence. So next month we go on to defence because, of course, next Monday I'm not here, and then the next month, the next Monday is the next month, as it were. We will be defending. Okay, much harder. Thinking defence in suit contracts it will be. And then ducking on the Mondays. We'll have prize teams on the Wednesdays, and we've got plenty going on the holiday side. Of course, I mean, let me just show you. But we are you've got Blunston there in May. You've also got Ingrid there in Denham, and you've got a whole range there. You've got one of those has already gone actually, but up until June there. So I'm doing one at Denham in June. So a nice range for you, and quite excitingly, the autumn season is up. Not all of the autumn season, I'm going to be honest, not all of it, but quite a lot. So we've got quite a lot of Denham ones, quite a lot of Old Barn ones, 2 Bridges, a Blunston, and Christmas and New Year are up. And, wait for it, reboot your conventions. I thought we'd start next year. I know 2024 seems a bit much, doesn't it? We're going to start that by rebooting our conventions. So send in your suggestions of which ones I'm going to cover. I probably have already decided, but you never know, you might sway me. So reboot your conventions is the way we start. That's the one which has 6 seminars, so you've got to be prepared for that one if you're coming. It's usually good fun, though. People seem to enjoy it. It's a sort of 5-day event, and it's quite intense. Anyway, what else have we got? Well, we've got, what are we doing today? We are going to be doing the hand evaluation, the suit combination as usual. I'll then do my little seminar. We will then have a bidding quiz at the end. And of course, at the very end, we go to the beginners and we'll be looking at competitive auctions again. So, Let me just press a few buttons. I'll take you there. Just a thing on the overseas holidays, just before I nip on. I just wanted to talk about this because I'm going to the Norwegian fjords. Hold on. That's where I am now. Yes. So in the same year, I'm up there in the winter looking for the Northern Lights. And in the summer, I'm taking my family. It's a lovely thing. And you're thinking, hold on, that's going from Scotland. I'm not going all the way up there. But I often say to people, think about it. What would you prefer, driving up to Scotland and going on a cruise, or doing an extra day at sea both ways? So if you're coming from the south, if you take a cruise from Southampton up to the fjords, it's going to take you an extra day of sea to get to the fjords, both ways. This way, you basically take one day at sea and you're there. And of course, don't forget, once you're there, you don't really feel the waves because you're in the fjords. How's that? Okay, I'm trying my hard sell here. I was doing all my movements as well, but you couldn't see because I'd forgotten. But yes, so I'm trying to do one each year in the summer holidays, so my family can be with me. Okay, let's. Where do I go first? That's where I go, isn't it? Okay, so here's your suit combination. And I can't really decide what I'm going to put you in. Originally, I put you in 3-no trumps with a diamond lead, i.e. you got a lucky lead in 3-no trumps. To be honest, it's the same whether you win 3-no trumps or 5 clubs. If you get lucky enough to not have the jack of diamonds lead against 3-no trumps, well then you've got to decide how to play the clubs. In 5 clubs, you have to decide how to play the clubs. And that's what your question is. So I am laying that to you. How do you play the club suit? We will then do the seminar and we'll come back and visit it. So let's go to the seminar there. Boop. Okay. What I like to do, as I've said all month, is plan my play with attitude with a double U. Now today, things are not so nice, because we're going to have some bad breaks. We are going to have some bad breaks. And that is what we're going to talk about. So the idea is you make a plan. And I'm afraid to say quite often, you end up having to make another plan. Okay. So let's remind ourselves of the plan we do at the start. How many tricks do you need is the aim. A is for aim. T for top tricks. TT, I should say. Count your sure winners. Increase your tricks. Work out ways to establish more tricks to reach your aim. Worry about the defense. How many losers have you got? Okay, remember, when you worry about the defense in no trumps, you talk about stoppers. In suits, you talk about losers. And of course, the execution phase, the plan itself. How do you get from hand to hand? When do you draw trumps? Now, we looked at that quite closely last week, and we discovered that sometimes it leads us to the correct solution. If you work out where the losers are, you have to work out how to get rid of them. Today, we're going to end up making a plan that has to be reworked. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, to be honest, if you plan for the very worst breaks all of the time, you're probably not going to do well playing pairs. So in a teams game or rubber bridge where you have to just make the contract, plan for the worst. And if you can still make it, that's brilliant. But in a pairs game, you've got to go for over tricks as well. So, if you're missing 5 trumps, you're generally going to think, well, are they 4-1 or are they 3-2? Maybe you're not going to plan for a 5-0 break. Okay. If you do, well done, but you may well not get as many tricks as you would have done if they'd broken evenly. So what I'll often do is make a plan, and when I see someone discard on the first round of trumps, I sigh and know that I have to stop and replan. Okay? So when trumps misbehave, stop and Now that does mean you take twice as long, in a way, not quite twice as long, but you know what I mean. You've made a plan, you stop in your tracks, partially because you might need an extra trick. And what I mean by that is that there's times that I've worked out, okay, well, I've got 5 heart tricks there coming. I've got the ace, king, queen of hearts. I've got 8 hearts between you. Most of the time I'm going to make them, I'm going to count. 9 hearts, I should say. If with 8, you'd probably have a proviso. But with 9, with the ace, king, queen, you'd think, well, come on, unless they break 4-0, I've got, etc. So, and the other thing is you might have to change your plan completely. I mean, if your plan was to draw trumps and take your 6-card club suit on the side, or maybe 4-card club suit, if you can't draw trumps anymore because they break so badly, you might think, okay, well, maybe if I cross off instead, I might not make as many as my original plan, but at least I'll make. Okay, so a bad trump break can completely scupper everything you had thought of. So what I'm going to do is put the hands up as usual. We'll go through them, and then I'll switch to Q+ to just make sure that we're happy with the actual whole complete thing. So here's an example. We have a look at this one. The lead's the Jack of Spades. So if you make a plan for me there, and I will just let you think about that while I set up my Q+ version of things. Okay, so how many top tricks are there is the question. We've got 9 top tricks there, and in fact, you're making 5 hearts off the top, obviously, because the ace, king, queen, jack will draw them. And to be honest, I'd look at that 9 top tricks. You might make an extra spade, and I'll make a ruff, etc. All I'm going to do is just draw trumps. Okay. And the point here is almost always I can draw trumps and get a diamond ruff later. If trumps break 2-2, I just play the ace and king, the king and ace. If trumps break 3-1, I play king, queen, and ace. So I take 3 rounds out. Okay. And I've still be able to ruff a diamond. Does that make sense? The only time that I'm going to stop in my tracks, okay, I've got the Jack of Spades lead again, is when South discards on the first trump. Okay, so I'm playing the King of Hearts because generally you take one from to leave at least a high trump in each hand. And actually on this hand is quite important because North's got all the trumps, and if you didn't have the Ace of Hearts there, you might not be able to ruff the diamond. And let's say if North had just 2 diamonds as well. Okay, so I played the King of Hearts, South discards, I stop. I think, okay, hold on. I had a simple plan. What's my plan now? Here, my plan would be I've got to play diamonds before I play the trumps. That's all. Okay, so I played one just to, I'm assuming once, if both players follow to it, I'm just going to draw all the trumps. Because they don't, I have to think about it. Okay, so let me just take you to Q+ if that's all right. So let me go there. I'll just quickly go through the auction. It's relatively simple, isn't it? 1 heart from West. 3 hearts from East. And I think it's a simple 4 hearts. I know there's 7 losers there, but you've got 14 points and a solid 5-card heart suit. And notice that you've got 2 aces and the King of Trumps, so you're definitely going for it. Okay. Remember with the losing trick count, 2 aces are valued the same as 2 kings. So if you put the King of Diamonds and King of Clubs in there, clearly you wouldn't be so excited. But here, the hand is definitely worth a waste. Okay. So you get the Jack of Spades lead, you win it, okay, and you play the King of Hearts, thinking that this hand is simple, and you get a shock. Okay, so at that point, now notice South played a diamond, trying to pretend he's got a heart. Sometimes you miss that playing live, even online. You can think, oh, okay, everybody's followed because it's the same colour. Anyway, at this point, you can probably duck a diamond. I think that's probably reasonably safe. The only thing you would say is that when you get a bad break in one suit, you can have very, very bad breaks in the others. So I think probably playing the Ace of Diamonds and another diamond is just as good, to be honest. There could be. I mean, once you've had a 4-0 break, you can have a 6-1 break. So perhaps I'm happier with that. Okay, it's gone a diamond to the queen. I'm surprised that South overtake there. They might have wanted to play a trump, but let's see what they switch to. They're playing another diamond. Well, that's okay by us because we're able to over-ruff North's card. So I'm surprised North did ruff, but he has. So we simply over-ruff with the ace. Don't forget, we're not worried about it. We now can draw trumps. Okay, so we've got the extra trick that we were looking for from hearts. Okay. All right, so that was our extra trick, and now we can just draw trumps because there's only 2 left. Okay. There's a spade discard as well, which is always handy, so I'm going to try and play on spades now. They haven't played clubs, so I might as well. Okay, let's play another heart. Okay, you might as well see if someone discards another spade, and then we duck a spade. That's a key play. If the spades are going to break, and it looks as though they are, maybe they were breaking 3-3 anyway. Okay, but we can now discard our club. Isn't that lovely? There you go. You win the ace. Play a spade over to the king, and you can discard. So South made the mistake of discarding a spade there, and we've taken advantage. Isn't that lovely? Okay, so the key there is we didn't get flustered. We stopped ourselves when we played the king of hearts. We saw there was a discard, and we made the point to ourselves that if we draw all the trumps, we can't ruff a diamond anymore. Okay, so instead we stopped drawing trumps, played ace and another diamond, and were in a position to ruff a diamond. Notice again, if you'd played the ace of hearts off first, then of course on the third round of diamonds, North could have ruffed in front of you and would have been able to win the trick. At which point, you know, you will have lost a diamond, a trump, and you'll lose a club and a spade. Okay, so you'd go down. Instead, we've made an over trick. I don't think we should. South should have probably discarded clubs. It's tricky though, isn't it? Or, you know, from queen to threes thinking, but you know, when you can see dummy's got 4, you really shouldn't be discarding a spade there. However, we've taken advantage and enjoyed it. Okay, so let's go back to the PowerPoint then and look at another hand. So there was the full layout, and again, you can see that with those trumps. Let's go to another one, and you have a think about this one, please. Okay, so you're in 4 hearts again. Jack of spades led, similar, and I want you to have a think, so I'll just have a sip. Sorry about the big mess. Okay, so now this is where I get a bit lazy. I'm going to be honest, I'm a bit lazy. I tend to count 9 top tricks here. Now, it's true that what I will tell you is that the only top tricks you have are 7. They are the ace, king of spades, the ace, king, queen of hearts, ace of diamonds, and ace of clubs. But I say to myself, well, look, if trumps are 3-1 or 2-2, I've got 5 trump tricks, 9 tricks. That's easy. Bit of roughing, and I'm going to make some over tricks. So that would be my plan. That's what I'd be thinking. However, well, you're going to see some. I would probably put 9 top tricks in my database, as it were. That's the way I'd think about the hand. I'm going to win. I'm going to win the first spade and play the king of hearts. Okay, just to make sure there's one. Now I may stop drawing trumps there anyway, even if they both follow. But I'd play the king of trumps just to give me an idea of what was going on. I would then maybe duck a club, assuming both people followed in the heart. If they need another heart, I'd win and then aim to maybe rough 2 clubs, etc. So we'd see how it goes. I'd make a plan in that way. Okay. However, what happens on the hand is when you cash the king of hearts, you find that North discards. So it's pretty intense. So now you have to completely change plan, because my laziness has cost me a little bit of mental arithmetic. Because the whole point about top tricks, if I'm honest, is that you should only count 7 because it is your base. It is your base number. What I'm going to do is recount. So when I find that North discards on the king of hearts, I just go back to the drawing board and I say, actually, I've only got 7 tricks. Because obviously the 4th round of hearts is not a winner anymore. So what that means is I'm going to need to rough as many times as I can. Remember, I don't think there's any way I can make any tricks from any other cards, so I'm going to sort of aim to rough as many times as I can. Again, I'll probably play the ace of clubs first and then a small club. Simply because, you know, once you get one bad break, you can imagine another. But the only thing I would say is that you don't really mind if South roughs. Now that's an important concept, because South has the master trump. So he has Jack 10, 9, 8. Well, no, he hasn't got the master trump, apologies. He has a master trump in his hand. He will always win a heart trick. He's got Jack 10, 9, 8. So, but if he roughs once, he won't. We will be able to draw his trumps. So even if he did rough the ace of clubs, for example, you would not be unhappy. Are you happy with that? Okay. All right. So I'm going to take you to Q Plus again, if that's all right. So let's go there. We'll go through the auction again, nice and simple here. 1 heart. Just 3 hearts, I think, from East. I know it's 3 aces, and there's no doubt you're better than an 8 loser hand, but I think, to be honest, they're bare, and there's nothing underneath them, so I think 3 hearts is enough. 4 hearts from West, of course. Okay. So we're in 4 hearts, and as you saw, we got the Jack of Spades lead. What do you plan? Do you know, my plan would be to win the King of Spades. I'm expecting to have a lot more entries to get to the West hand, so hence I'm using the King of Spades there. And I'd cash the King of Hearts, and I get a shock. I stop at that point, and I say, okay, what I'm going to need to do now is to make as many ruffs as I can. You know, I might even be tempted to... I'm going to play the ace of clubs in another club, I think. I don't mind ducking a club there. Okay, South's probably going to switch to trumps. South hasn't switched to trumps, which is interesting. Okay. All right, so I'm going to win the ace, and I'm going to start ruffing. I'm going to ruff as many times as I can. There we go. We'll ruff that. We'll ruff a heart. We will ruff a diamond. And this is looking good now, isn't it? Okay, we've done quite a bit of ruffing. I think we might have, you know, stretched our limits, but we've made the contract already. We've made the contract. Is there any way we can make any more? I don't think so. We could ruff a heart, but I think that's going to be over rough probably. We don't mind. We'll try and ruff it. They didn't break. Okay, but you sort of knew they weren't. And obviously you now make the rest. You have to give them 1 trick. I don't know why they're leading the Jack of Hearts, but we can win that with a ruff. But of course, we have to play a spade or a heart and give them the last one. Now, double dummy, you can make more. You can make more, and I'll show you that now. But the important thing about the hand, the important thing about the hand here is, so I'll open up all the hands. Is that you stop in your tracks and you change your mind. So we'll just start the play, and seeing both hands, you might choose to ruff a diamond earlier. So you play the King of Hearts. I think that's reasonable. You don't have to, in the sense that you might choose to pursue ruffs early. But because we can see the diamonds are breaking 4-4, in theory, we might be able to ruff all of the diamonds. So if you start early with a ruff there, and then maybe duck a club, again, I'm looking at all the cards, they play a heart, which is the right thing for them to do. Okay. But we are going to take advantage of what we can see. So we are going to ruff a diamond. Play the ace of clubs and ruff a club. And of course, because the diamonds break, we can actually ruff with the 4 of hearts. Isn't that amazing? Okay, so playing that way, you would end up making 11 tricks. And of course, your spade loser goes with South's heart winner. And that's because the trumps are breaking 4-4. Clearly, if South had had 4 clubs, you would have been able to ruff using the 2 little trumps in the east hand. So it swings around roundabouts. Once we had ruffed, of course, it was too late. Once you've played the 4th round, that's when you find out how it breaks. So, yeah, it's interesting to work out which one is more likely. It depends on how many spades you think are in the north hand for the opening lead. So it's an interesting one. But you do know, I think maybe. It's tricky. But what's important, and this is the key, what's important is to focus. Let me just show you that on the PowerPoint again so you can see the last card. I think I should have said back to 7 top tricks there, but you know, there's the full hand. And again, I mean, a lot of people maybe would have won the King of Spades and ducked a club. I don't mind that. You don't necessarily have to draw trumps. I think probably South should switch to the Jack of Hearts then anyway, and you'll find out. And you might be in a slightly better position, but it all depends. I mean, if you pursue diamond ruffs first on the hand, it just so happens because the suit breaks 4-4 that you will maybe managed to make 3 diamond ruffs, and that's a fantastic effort. Okay, whereas, to be honest, originally my plan was just simply to ruff 2 clubs, if that makes sense. It's only when trumps broke horribly wrong that we wanted to ruff in both hands, as in cross ruff. And that's because suddenly, instead of, I was thinking the king, queen, 4, 3, 2 were going to be winners, as in the ace takes 1 trump from both opponents, king, queen, you've then got the 4 and 3 as winners. It's only when you discover the bad break that you realise they're not winners. You change your plan. Okay, so that is the end of that. I've got the competitive bidding for the beginners coming up later. What are we moving on to? Well, just a quick mention of the overseas. I've shown you the cruise. There's a Dutch cruise there, of course. And there's Tunisia. Now, I've got Tunisia there on the 24th, which is, I think, just next week. So if you want a quick one, you can go for that. But of course, what we're planning to do is do breaks regularly. So we're going to do Tunisia in March, April time. We're going to do Tunisia in November. We're going to do Mallorca in April. We're going to do Mallorca in October. Okay, but Mallorca in April is now sold out. You've got Mallorca in October. Croatia, we just do it in early May. Again, that's sold out as well. But we're going to try and do a consistent kind of program. We'll also hopefully bring some new things in as well. A number of you have been asking for winter sun in the real winter, and we'll see if we can find something from that. But if you've got any suggestions, please do come to us. I wouldn't mind going back to Lake Garda, for example, so we might look into that. But we are looking into all sorts. Let's go back to, I've got to remember what I've got to do. I've got to go to the next one. I've just got to disguise the hands from you, so bear with me. Think about all those wonderful places you can go while I get us back to this. Okay. Q+. There we go. So I said, let's put a quick auction up so that we can 1 club, 1 spade, let's say, and I don't think South's got an easy bid here. You've got 3 clubs is probably the normal bid. 3 clubs is probably the normal bid, isn't it? 16 points and 6 clubs. But this South decided to rebid 1 no trump, and North bid 3 no trumps. Okay, which isn't a great contract, clearly. But let's see what the lead you got. You got lucky because you got the Jack of Diamonds, okay? On another hand, of course, you could have had a heart lead and lost on this occasion 6 heart tricks. I think maybe 3 clubs is better. It's a genuine bid, 16 plus. You'd finish in 5 clubs, and 5 clubs as on a club finesse. Well, is it a club finesse? Depends on how you're going to play the clubs. So we win the diamond and we cross over to the ace of spades, and you have a decision to make. Now, Bernard usually says we need at least 4 high cards to lead high. However, you have 10 clubs. We are going to take the club finesse. That's the first thing, okay? Because it's more likely that the king will be in the doubleton, or tripleton for that matter, than it will be as singleton. So I think you're much better off taking a finesse. And if you play a small club to the queen, if that wins, it's fine if both players have followed. But what happens if you play a club to the queen and West discards? You can get back to dummy and take another finesse. But East has the king and 10 sitting over the Jack. So that is no good, and it will not work. And the key is if you lead the Jack and it's covered by the king, your ace can win. And of course, if West follows, well, then there's only 1 club left out. Your queen kills it. If West discards, we now know that East has the 10, and we can cross back over to dummy and finesse for the 10. Does that make sense? Okay, so with 10 cards here, it's an unusual situation. The Jack of clubs is a safety play, so let's open up the hand so we can see it all. Okay, and let's have a look. You win the ace of spades there. You lead the Jack of clubs. What does East do? Well, if East plays small, we run it, and that's the end of that. Okay, clearly all your clubs are winners now. Okay, and sorry, I say all your clubs are winners. You're going to take another club finesse because you've seen West discard, so you just play a club there, and there's nothing for what East to do. So instead, East covers, but because of the discard from West, we know what to do. we can cross over to the north hand. And to be honest, I would probably take the 2 spades here, since I haven't got the entry. I can throw a heart, and I now play a club. And if East plays the 10, I play the queen. If East plays the 2, I can play the 9. Okay. I now unblock the 8 of clubs. Well, not that you need to, you've got entries. And clearly you make 12 tricks. A very lucky 12 tricks, of course. And sometimes we do get lucky, but I'm going to leave the jack of diamonds if I'm West as well, to be honest. He got dealt the cards he got dealt. You can tell I made him vulnerable to make sure he didn't come in over 1 club here. But you can see, 5 clubs is a better contract, and if you play the clubs correctly, you will make. However, you'll be really annoyed with the scorecard, because of course on the scorecard it will say plus 490 for us, because we got a diamond lead, and as you can see, you made 12 tricks. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that. Remember, I'm not here next Monday, but I will be back subsequently. And for those of you on the site members, so the Wednesday, of course, don't forget, is taped. So that is me playing pairs on Into Bridge. And of course, don't forget, Into Bridge, we won every Monday for the members. Okay, free of charge at the moment. So I'm trying to get you to get a feel for it. Don't get me wrong, if you play it 3 or 4 times and you're thinking, still not for me, that's fine. But you've always got to give something a chance. And I'm certainly getting better at it. I still struggled a little bit on going through some of the hands, because I had the picture of me in the wrong place, etc. But I'll get there, and I'm certainly enjoying the layout and certain elements of it. But I will be talking also to Stefan about some elements of the layout I'm not so happy with, as are some of you, and he's responding, and that's what I love. I'm hoping that eventually between us we get what we want. That's the plan. Okay, let's look at the bidding quiz. There's your bidding quiz. You'll have seen similar, I'm sure, because it was similar. It looks like the same auction as last time, as it is, but it's a different hand. So it's 1 heart from left-hand opponent, 1 no trump from your partner, 2 hearts. 1 heart from left-hand opponent, 1 no trump from partner, 2 hearts, and it's your bid. Nobody is vulnerable. So have a nice week. Or 2 if I don't see you, but do come and see us. You can see the answer, of course, to the bidding quiz any time, whether you're a member or non-member, but come and join us and see what all the fun is about. If not on the site, well, come and join us on a B&B holiday, whether it's in Cornwall or in the UK, on a cruise, or somewhere else, abroad, Tunisia, somewhere like that. Anyway, I'm losing it. Let's get to the beginners. Okay, so here we are, a little tidbit for the beginners. We are looking at competitive bidding. Oh, competitive bidding is tricky. Okay, now I'm going to be honest, experts, well, they're probably okay with it, but us novices and intermediates, when we're in that middle bit, we hate it as well, because we are out of our comfort zone when both sides are bidding. So when all players are bidding, we had a language that we learnt to play this game, and that language is being fiddled with by our opponents. It is annoying, okay? However, we do our best to bid naturally if we can. Okay, now what we're going to see today is we can't always bid naturally, but we're going to do our best to do it. But it's true for all bidders. Whether you're the overcaller and you've learned how to respond to overcalls, suddenly there's another bid. So it goes a club, a heart overcall, and then they bid again. That's not what Bernard put in our practice hands. And that's the thing. I can't predict what's going to happen at the table. Okay, so when there's competitive bidding, when you cannot do what you want, you sort of try to stick to the rules. You look for an alternative and try to sort of stick among the rules. But it's tricky, okay? Try to remember your rules. If you're the opening side, you're always the opening side, however many bids there are from the opponents. One important rule is this. When the opponents bid a suit, we do not bid the same suit. When the opponents bid a suit, we do not bid the same suit, and there's a simple reason for that, is that particularly when they've made an overcall, they're showing 5 cards in the suit. Why would we want to show a suit that they've already shown us 5 in? Remember, the reason we show each other suits is to discuss which we think will make the best trump suit. Well, if one of your opponents has 5 cards in a suit, you already know that it's not likely to make your best trump suit, even if you had the rest of the other 8. Do you really want to play in a suit where an opponent has 5 of that suit? So generally, we do not bid the opponent's suit. And that's what I mean by when you cannot do what you want. Now, as you'll find when you become advanced and experts, you will bid the opponent's suit for a very different reason. Okay, we're not going to touch on that now. So for the moment, if the opponents bid a suit, we don't bid it. So let's look at an example. Here you go. 12 points, 5 spades and 4 clubs. You open a spade, nice and simple. 2 clubs from north. That's annoying, because I had a plan. I was going to open spades and rebid clubs. But I can't now, because I don't bid the suit that the opponents have bid. Okay, so if it had gone one spade from us, 1 no trump from partner, we were going to plan to rebid 2 clubs. Okay, but we can't do that now. Okay, it actually goes 2 diamonds from your partner and the bidding comes back to you. Okay, so your plan is gone. You've got to make another plan. You've got a weak hand. You've got to make another bid. You've got to remember that. The rules of bidding, of your bidding system, are that if you open this bidding in a suit and your partner changes the suit, you promise to make another bid. Really important that. Do not let North making a bid in the auction get you away from your basic rules. You've opened, your partner's changed the suit, so you need to make another bid. And surely the most normal thing to do here, if you can't bid clubs, is to bid your spades again. Okay, you don't like it. You'd love to have been more descriptive about your hand, but let's be honest, spades are your best feature. Okay, so 1 spade, 2 clubs, 2 diamonds, pass, 2 spades. You're just saying, partner, I've got 5. Some people love to have that promising 6, but you can see you can't. You're just saying, partner, I haven't got much else to show you. Okay, and I've got a minimum hand. Let's look at one more and then we'll sign off, but these are tricky. So this time I've given you 16 points, 5 clubs and 4 spades, and of course we open our longest suit. And we've got a lovely plan again. 1 club from us, and we're going to rebid 1 spade. Does that make sense? 1 club followed by 1 spade, partner, I've got 5 and 4, as we were going to do on the last hand. So it goes 1 club, pass, 1 heart. Sorry, 1 club, pass, 1 diamond. And we're just about to bid 1 spade. You're thinking, oh, this is nice and easy. And South bids a spade instead. Okay, so you had a plan. It's gone 1 club, pass, 1 diamond. And if South had bid 1 heart, you'd have been quite happy, because you'd have carried on with your plan. You'd have bid 1 spade. But now you can't. It's gone 1 club, pass, 1 diamond, 1 spade from South. South is showing at least 5 spades. You have no interest playing with spades as trumps. You've only got 4. So you do not want to be bidding 2 spades. And your partner will probably have very few of them and will have to bid again, and you'll get to the 3 level. That's silly. So we can't bid 2 spades. What are your other options? Okay, what are your other options? Well, you could just bid 2 clubs, and that is perfectly reasonable. But to be honest, this kind of hand it would usually be for novice and intermediates rather than sort of beginners, novices, because it's tricky. I'm asking you to think. And that's not what you're supposed to do as a beginner. As a beginner, you're supposed to follow rules, and that is what overcalls do. Overcalls make us have to think out of the box slightly, and it's a pain. But given that we can't do what we're supposed to do, we had a plan, 1 club followed by 1 spade. Let's look at some of the options. 2 clubs, partner. I've got, 5 clubs and a weak hand. What about 1 no trump? What about 1 no trump? Now that is a hard bid. It's a hard bid, but what it shows is 15 to 17 points. So it definitely shows your strength, but it shows a balanced hand, and you don't have a balanced hand. However, I think your spades will do okay in a no trump contract, because if North, they usually lead their suit, because of course that's one of the reasons we overcall. And if they lead a spade, you've got the ace, queen, 9, 7. That's nice. And you've got what we call a semi-balanced hand. It's fairly balanced. I think actually if you bid one no trump, it's a pretty good description of your hand, isn't it? Notice your partner's bid diamonds and you've got strength in all the other suits. Do you expect to have a best fit between you? Probably not. Your partner might like your clubs enough, but you've already shown those, and you certainly don't expect to have a fit in spades, and you've just got 2 cards in the other 2 suits. So you're sort of suspecting that no trumps might be the best thing. So that's what I would do. I would bid a no trump here. Isn't that hard though? Okay, that one spade overcall has disrupted our bidding and made it really tough for us. Okay, so competitive bidding. It's hard. It's hard. And we don't get taught much about it when we're beginners and novices. And I'm not necessarily going to spend much time on it myself. You know, what you tend to talk about is the overcall itself and responding, and the opening side and responding. But we don't tend to talk about the intermingling of the two, because it's more advanced word. But of course it comes up, and that's why I mention it, and I want to mention it, because if you want, and of course we all want to be at the table, we want to go ahead and get better, and that's how you get better at the table. You've got to know a little bit about how to deal with the opponent's bidding. Okay. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. You'll get, of course, some questions on those kind of things in the novice bidding quiz as well, which hopefully will steer you in the right way. Hope you enjoyed that. Remember, I'm not with you next Monday for the beginners, but I will be the week after. Thanks for your company, and see you again soon.